Yeah, I think if you're looking to mitigate the burst damage of the morph, AM is a hero that doesn't care for it, right? That's mainly magic coming out. AM disregards that magic damage and has a lot of ways to play around morph.
10
So
seconds
I think it's a
remaining.
solid pick for Signal. They do have to give it space.
5
So
seconds
they've
remaining.
got to ensure Abba actually gets a good lane this time. They can't afford to have him fall behind with his timings because AM is very sensitive to those timings. So look to Signal to try to secure that lane. But Execration, they've got ways to apply their pressure. They have so many openings left because they've left themselves with the support picks last. So with this hand being shown now from Signal, they could easily just pick some supports that could make it hard. Solid lockdown, perhaps, if what you're looking for. If not, then something that just punishes the AM for going a bit too far from its team.
Well, they have those support picks now, Execration. There is still the opportunity as well to run the support Pugner, if you so wish, and try to pick up another kind of mid here for the side of Execration if they want to go down that route. This fourth pick should reveal a bit more for us. There's been quite a bit of support Pugner going around as of late. And it can be kind of infuriating to have to play against. And basically still does the same thing up against Necrophos anyway. And so
Ooh.
Execration, Enigma is the pickup now. And yeah, I gotta say, this draft is starting to look a little bit greedy here for Execration. I'm not sure if it's a little too greedy. It is quite stacked.
Mm.
I guess it's the answer to the AM. Just black hole, but it's a long cooldown.
Yeah, it really is.
10
I think
seconds
though,
remaining.
overall, this is actually not too bad.
5
The biggest
seconds
thing is the
remaining.
laning phase. We will see that Enigma go into jungle, basically. So you're gonna have to sack the Beastmaster lane, but the Beastmaster up against AM isn't too tricky, although you will have to watch out for that Ench. As we mentioned, it does look like Cignal will probably run that dual lane, which is a good way to stop the Beastmaster. Still, as long as Execration rides through that rough laning period, they've got the solid
Last
control,
turn.
they've got the push. This is really looking amazing for push from Execration.
Right.
Beastmaster, Pugna, and Enigma. They're just going to melt these towers.
Yeah, that's going to create so much space for the Morphling as well. Which is, you're just going to have the, the Palos Morphling. It should be. Could still be Ben-Hur's Morphling, but if it's a Palos Morphling, he's going to have all the
10
space in the
seconds
world.
remaining.
I guess the Enigma denying off a creep pretty much every single
5
wave is also
seconds
going to be
remaining.
quite detrimental here to that AM. For a bat, he's just not going to have as many creeps running towards him. Still, one more ban now from Execration. We get to see how both these teams close this off. The Rubik, of course, is banned out up against the Enigma. Standard stuff there. And Cignal Ultra, they did end up banning out that Prophet because they don't want to add any more push on the side
Oh,
of
yeah.
Execration. It'd get a little bit insane afterwards if it just kept going. And I suppose
Yeah.
now it's just a question of, is it
10
going to be
seconds
Pugna support?
remaining.
Is it a Pugna core?
5
This last
seconds
pick will show
remaining.
us. It's hard to know what to expect here from Execration.
Radiant team pick.
Okay, still don't know. The Pango comes out now, and it's a 5 core lineup, John. That's what I see, a 5
Basically.
core lineup.
Basically, yeah. I think it is greedy, especially in terms of EXP progression. All of these heroes want to hit their 6 fairly quick. Most of them want some decent mid-game farm, which
10
can be an
seconds
issue in
remaining.
distributing that. I think you're better off with going the Pango
5
support.
seconds
Just have the
remaining.
Pugna sit down mid. You will just constantly be able to harass out as the Pango anyway. And this does give Signal Ultra some ways of finding an answer. They do pick up fast. The Kunkka
You may
comes
now
out.
select your
So they give
heroes.
themselves durability. Some good team fight coming out as well. I like that they've got solid ways of locking in the Morph and the Pangolier with the X. So they have some answers there. Overall, Execration's draft, super greedy, and oh, okay. Alright, it is the Pugna support with Ben Hur in the Pang.
Yeah, Ben-Hur's
So
playing mid Pangolier. Uh, that RR Pos 5 Pugna. Yaha on the Pos 4 Enigma, and Well, the rest is pretty standard. BHM on the offlane on that Beastmaster, Palos on the POS 1. Of course, Cignal Ultra's draft is very self-explanatory. Jamesy going to be in the mid lane on that Kunkka. Van going back to that offlane, this time as a Necrophos rather than the Venomancer, and a Bat in that safe lane AM.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to run it, Execration. I think the mid matchup for the Pango isn't too bad. You could play around with the Disarm and the Swashbuckle, of course, to just keep that wave shoved in. The biggest thing is RR's Pugna is not going to find too much EXP. You're just not gonna get that space. Yaha is gonna eat that space. So the progression of the Pugna is gonna be a lot slower. You're not gonna see a build up to an Aether Lens fast or a Glimmer Cape fast, which can take away the utility of that hero.
That it can. We'll get into it though. Game number 2 of this best of 2 between Cignal Ultra and Execration. Very, very curious to see if they can make this draft work on the side of Execration. It's very unique to say the least, and I think if a Bat gets enough farm on this AM, he could just drag this game on infinitely, just based on the fact that he can continue to split the map on that AM. It's just going to be whether he can actually get that farm, because I said the same thing the last game against the PL, where he would just outscale Execration eventually, but it just never came to that point.
Yeah, it's
What were they saying in the lobby, by the way? I saw you all having a laugh, and me and the admin just had no idea what you were talking about.
it's just some wordplay. Just some wordplay being thrown around. Nothing major. Just some Filipino wordplay. I don't know how to explain it. That's the hard thing. I don't speak Filipino well. I understand it well enough. Sometimes I can't explain it. I just, I can't translate it. I'm not that competent, unfortunately, Mike.
You live in the country. What do you speak when you're in the Philippines, John?
I speak English at home, and in my hometown we speak a different dialect. We
Wow.
speak Bisaya. So if anyone out there knows Bisaya, and when a droid comes on, the trash talk comes out. It's basically that for the most part.
Okay. Thank you for that, John. Execration bot lane. Going to be able to secure both bounty runes here. Or maybe not. A Bat is rushing forward for it, but BHM does pick it up. Still, I do like the little sneak there from Yaha taking the other bounty. It does still end up being a 2 for 2 though. And we'll see our respective lanes now. Are going to head up to the top lane on that Pugna. Going to be sticking around and supporting Palos. And this might actually be a great support to have on that Pugna, right? Because it does make Van's life really, really hard on this Necrophos to feel comfortable in this lane.
It's going to be hard for Van to just stick there and find the last hits. Even Eris probably has to temper that aggression just a bit. Very easy to turn with a Nether Blast once RR invests, although he's happy enough to take that attention away for now. But you can already see Palos copying a little bit too much in right clicks there while his support is away.
Well, Eris could go for the level 1 tag team very, very soon and try to go after the solo kill on RR if he really wants. RR holding his own skill point as well, not knowing if he's going to need the Decrepify. Doesn't really want to go for that level 1 Nether Blast if he doesn't have to as well. Looking into that mid lane, Ben-Hur going to be up against Jamesy. That's not a lane you see very often, mid Pango versus mid Kunkka. Of course, we're very used to seeing the Kunkka there. But the Pangolier, not so much, and I kind of wonder who this even favors.
Yeah, I'd say Jamesy has a bit of a better time as long as he keeps landing the Tidebringer. Ben-Hur can't constantly apply the harassment as much. Swashbuckle has a bit of a longer cooldown and costs mana, so Jamesy should have a better time in pumping out his own damage.
That he is so far.
Magic is an abomination.
Well, spot lane, a Bat seems to be having a pretty nice time, just spamming all chat as he always does. One thing to note, a Bat is the only team member in Cignal Ultra right now that is part of the Tim's clan. Everyone else is just guildless, which is very upsetting to see. He's just kind of left his brethren behind.
Yeah, it's that life, you know. The Tim's clan is representing, and that kind of goes back to TNC a bit off topic, but you know, KP's not in the Tim's clan as well.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter, John. He's part of a better clan in Australia.
Oh boy. No.
All right. It's
You
like
know,
top lane
one
Palace is having a rough time, John, on that Morphling. He's been in constant low HP, and I guess Van with that Heartstopper aura, it does make it hard for the Morphling to juggle his HP. So you never really feel safe going full Agi, even just to heal up if you are within range of Van.
Yeah, they've slowed down Palace's early farm. This is down to the fact that RR on the support Pugna just can't do anything right now. If he tries to harass with Nether Blast, he's gonna shove out the wave,
Oh,
which
Ben-Hur,
hurts Palace's farm.
great little play in that mid lane, holding onto that Fairy Fire, and does find the first blood onto the Kunkka. Meanwhile, BHM being chased down here by Grims. Grims really wants that impetus. He's within range for the impetus hit. There we go. He just waited a while. Not sure what he was waiting on there, but he does get it eventually. Maybe just trying to really get the creep equilibrium his team's way in. Oh,
That's
it's a
still a
1-to-1.
massive wave. It's still a massive wave coming in for Execration though. That's like 3 range creeps in this bot wave. That's gonna be a good amount of EXP for BHM to kind of catch up with once he gets down there.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of shocked he left it for so long. But I guess you don't really have too much of a choice. It probably would have ended up triple stacking anyway. The thing is BHM really going to be able to even enjoy this? For now, he's in the mid lane trying to secure a power rune for his Pangolier. Ben-Hur, who is already having a good old time, would probably have loved that power rune, but Grims was coming in to steal it. And so BHM is forced to take it himself. And now he has plenty of creeps to attend to. Bat's trying to deny as many as possible underneath this tier 1 tower. But BHM going to walk over, and what a surprise. I've got plenty of XP to go. But you'll see Grims on that Enchantress not actually allowing him to get close to take aggro.
And this is really the weakness of Execration's lanes. You don't have Yaha around to help out. And so BHM is just copping the short end of the stick. He needs to go in. He needs that EXP.
Not even that, John. The T1 tower just ticking away. Finally, Ben-Hur comes in. BHM will attend to those creeps, and that's all they want. They don't want to deny themselves all this gold and XP. Grimm's now going to be in a bit of trouble here. Cops the Malefice, but ultimately they won't have the range to continue the chase on the Enchantress. They'll just take their bounty runes and get back to their lanes.
Yeah, and again, we are watching a bit of a slower start from both sides, although I would say Cignal is having a better time of it, mainly because Palace is not farming as well as Abad. So you are seeing Cignal pull ahead in that early farm, and Execration, they're going to take it slow as long as Yaha is not ready. He's just going to soak the jungle, and that is just going to hurt their side lane presence.
Question is, how long is it going to take for Yaha to be ready? Like, are we going to see that Necro 1 into the blink again that we've been seeing all day? I don't know if that'll be the case. He may feel it necessary to pick up some other kind of items here. Palos, top lane, just taking so much harass out from Van. He will survive, it's just he can't get any farm at all. Meanwhile, mid lane, Eris tries to make a rotation, ends up dying for it.
Yeah, it's a nice little pickup for Ben-Hur, and we have a lag log for Yaha.
Yep. Quick disconnection out from Ben-Hur as well.
Still, I think the state of the game isn't too rough for Cignal. Again, the biggest thing is that Abad's really happy down bot. Looks like he is probably skipping his boots. Nah, he's probably flying out his power treads. No, he's just staying with the Glove of Haste and straight into the Battle Fury. And the timing should be pretty darn good for our AM, and BHM is so far behind. This is very different from Game 1. Stuck at level 4, no real farm to speak of. He's just not going to have too much influence early on as the Beastmaster.
Yeah, when you have these kind of lineups as well, where you're playing this kind of really greedy, 4 or 5 core lineup, although, some of those cores are trying to be supports, the point is, a bat fighting this much farm on an AM is going to be really detrimental. In fact, BHM probably is actually just dead here. He does have a TP coming in, however. That's actually going to force them back. Had that TP not came in from RR, they would have dived that tower for sure. But even just not diving the tower, you've got that task here now. So Eris, if he finds the opening, can snowball in, get a nice tag team off. And even if they don't, the bat is still freely farming. In fact, he does jump back in, secures the range creep. They're going to make the chase now on the AM. They know he doesn't have blink. He does go down. The Nether Blast there from RR in time. Snowball save will not be there from Eris. And now Eris is going to die for this, and that's just a bit of a misplay from a bat. Feeling like he needed to really blink in for that final creep. But ends up costing him way more than what a creep gives.
Yeah, that's a pretty good punishment coming out from Execration, and that does kind of balance out the free farm they've allowed Abat to have. You see Yaha shows up in lane now as well. Does have the Necro ones and Witty Army.
Mid lane. RR takes a boat to the face, does Decrepify to amplify that damage on himself, and now will die. Bit of a shame. But that bot lane is pushing very quickly.
Yeah, it's just gone. And again, that's the effect of Yaha investing really hard in the jungle. With BHM at 6, you do have enough to really just push through, and they're just going to constantly apply that pressure now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant structures
Top lane, they're trying to do the same thing, Cignal Ultra. The bat's there with Van. They're just getting that tier 1 down. A bat really delayed his Battle Fury timing. Like, he was on an amazing pace for that B Fury. But now, it's going to be substantially slower.
top tower has fallen.
Still needs those big items in the Mithril Hammer and the Broadsword. But I don't know if it'll pay off. Like, you've skipped the small items here on the AM trying to go for that, being the treads. I suppose it is fine, though. Like, if you can get it really quick, it is worth just skipping those treads for now.
Yeah, he's not spending too much time trying to trade right clicks with the enemy cores anymore. He's just focusing on pure farm, although.
Yeah, Ben-Hur. That mid Pango struggling still as Jamesy continues to set up kills here on that mid lane. He did have the help of the Enchantress and Tusk that time around, but Ben-Hur's just not having anywhere near the same performance as last time. He's still doing well. He's at the top of the net worth board, but it's just a massive kill for Jamesy.
Yeah, this is giving Cignal a bit more to play with. I think Execration is still maximizing this space pretty nicely. The biggest thing is that with Abat just staying in the jungle, they haven't been able to track that AM. So the earlier punishment was good, but you are still seeing issues with ignoring the AM. And you could argue that Palos is being given the same space, but he's nowhere near a big item like a Battle Fury. He's just going straight to power treads for now.
Tower is under attack.
Yaha is indeed going for that Blink Rush, by the way. He's going to pick it up as Ben-Hur does pick off Grims on that Enchantress. But that Blink Dagger, once it's up, it's going to make it a very, very hard time for Cignal Ultra. The Bat's still trying to farm towards that B Fury, but he'll just be trying to farm throughout most of the game. Meanwhile, how's our Morphling doing? Palos, he's just got the Morbid Mask up right now. He's been struggling.
Yeah, he's just flying out his power treads now. Not really in fighting form. And we have to see if he will commit for the early E-Blade, or if he's just going to opt for something like the SNY we've seen a couple of times now.
It feels like you don't really need the E-Blade though, right? Like, you've got a Necrophos there who's already going to Ghost Form himself. Ben-Hur misses a swashbuckle there on Eris, but will go for the Rolling Thunder. Snowball will dodge that out. He'll come around a second time. Gets one stun off, and it looks like it might be enough to take down Eris. It's going to take a bit of time. They do find it. Ben-Hur the one to pick up the kill, and now Palos will show himself on Van. Van does have that Reaper Scythe up. Palos still being difficult about this. Meanwhile, behind, a boat flying out onto RR. He does eventually end up dying, but can they fight the Kunkka? He's very, very tanky, and Palos got to be careful about his HP. Reaper Scythe coming out now, and Ben-Hur still surviving, however. Jamesy ends up dying. Now Grim's also going to go down. They do finally get Ben-Hur with the Death Pulse of Van. But ultimately, Execration may be okay with that little engagement they just had.
They definitely are. They did find the favorable trade in the end. It is surprising that they did not commit that Reaper Sight on the Morphling, although they do find Yaha up top.
Yeah, that's just after Yaha took their top tier 1 tower for free. So, I mean, they get the trade there, but well, now Yaha has the full Blink Dagger up, got the tier 1 tower. Cignal Ultra. I appreciate the AM has to farm, but you get to that stage where you start to ask yourself when the other 4 are going to start rotating.
It's tricky. They don't quite have enough in the rest of their heroes just yet to sneak around, although they do have better farm so far. Like, all 3 cores are above Execration's course. It's just that they haven't been able to find the best openings. I think one thing is that Van has to be really disciplined with his sight. You have to save that for the Morphling, otherwise Palos is just going to have the capability to juggle through that HP.
Well, nice easy kill there onto Grims. Yaha still has that first black hole. He has not committed it yet. Because you wouldn't mind committing that first black hole to just the AM alone. Just secure a kill if you could find him. It's easier said than done, though, as Abat has been rather sneaky about his positioning. Just farming the top side of the map.
Oh.
Bot lane, however.
HM.
Oh, looks like my... I think that server issue's happening again with me. Yeah, it is. I've got to reconnect.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, it's when a team fight breaks out. Got to reconnect.
Ooh. Black hole. The Rolling Thunder on top. They clean up the Kunkka. They clean up the Tusk. Van on the run. Palos jumping in.
Alright, we're back.
Nah.
They are trying to go after Van. They might still find him. The Malefice is there, and more life drain through the ghost form. Van's still in huge trouble. He is death pulsing, but it's not going to help. And it looks like it's a 3-for-0 trade for the side of Execration.
Yeah, they just find every single thing. That was a great first black hole from Yaha. They just managed to really force it out at the right time, and you are seeing Execration kick in. Abat is pushing up top, you know, doing AM things, but you're bleeding out a bit too much in your side lanes.
Now, Ben-Hur just found a 4th hero as well. He got Grims on the Enchantress. Now, they are putting a lot of focus on just allowing Abat to keep freely farming on that AM. But you might start losing that bottom tier 2 tower soon. Jamesy gonna just throw the boat in and clear out the creep wave. Try to make sure they can't do anything about pushing this tier 2. They do get out some substantial damage though as mid lane. A bit of a fight breaking out. Ben-Hur trying to back off with his team. He doesn't have mana for the Rolling Thunder right now, and he gets Reaper's Sight. Looks like he will end up dying. Yaha now also trying to run away. He will blink up onto the high ground and just make the TP out, and looks like he will barely get out as Jamesy had the torrent. Doesn't quite get it off in time.
Yeah, that's some good punishment coming out from Cignal. They do get a nice amount of gold going their way, taking out the key here in the Pangolier. I do believe he still had enough to finish up that defusal. So you do have that up and running. A lot more damage coming out from Ben-Hur. And you aren't quite finding the objectives just yet from Cignal. Execration still has better push in that sense, although they do go and take that mid-tier 1.
You know, that they will. TP is coming in, but it's going to be too late. Ben-Hur may get a deny off, though no, he wants to go for a bit of a kill. It's going to be onto Grims. They'll chase the Enchantress down. Mech coming up, but it's not going to help. Grims will die again on the Enchantress. And Cignal Ultra just going to continue biding their time. Abat now has the Yasha up and is bringing out the Manta, and You know, in all fairness, he has maintained that top net worth lead on the board. However, mid lane, Van getting jumped on now. Raw being committed just in case. They will take down the Necrophos, and Eris gets a snowball out. It may not matter, however. It's just going to mean they got to chase him a little longer. In fact, he will Walrus punch a creep while he's at it. Just get a bit of extra gold in before you die. But, on the west side of the map, Palos ends up dying to a bat.
That's a bigger trade going the way of Cignal. I think they're going to be very happy with just finding that Morphling kill, although not going to be happy if they bleed some more.
Grims. Torrent actually misses somehow. And Grims will actually walk out of there maybe. Yeah, no, he will. Excuse me, Torrent didn't miss. That was a Torrent from his own Kunkka, which is why it looked a bit weird to me for a second there, but I honestly can't believe he survived that.
Yeah, Execration is not in a position to fully punish. I think they depend a lot on Morphling for that gap close if Ben-Hur can't. So, miss out on an opportunity, and the game is still staying fairly even. Less than 1k net worth lead for Execration. That doesn't quite... He's at 10k. He has a huge advantage over all these other cores, but the team is still behind.
A bat again. He will end up blinking out. Mid lane, however, team fight breaking out. James, he's just going to rush for the double damage as a Mana Void came out from a bat.
That was on a creep?
He just used it on the ancient creep.
Yeah, I guess that's fine for efficiency if you're not expecting to fight in a minute. This is a bit of an opening for Execration though. They could just blink Black Hole. It is up and running on Yaha, and I love the item switch out. He was queuing up BKB earlier, just going straight for the Guardian Greaves instead, figuring that if he can keep his team alive, they can keep the push going and find a lot more.
Well, they got the bot tier 2 tower now, and it looks like they're going to make a rush towards that bottom tier 3. Just try to force the side of Cignal Ultra to respond to this. And if they don't, that tier 3 will melt very, very quick. They've got to respond quick. 1 TP, that'll make it 2. There's also a third coming in. Palos going to be in trouble. Torrent connecting, but he will waveform out. Now the snowball in from the Tusk, but Raw, and now the Black Hole. Yaha, everything being thrown out here. The Black Hole is cancelled by the X, and we have a pause.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, I believe them when they say lag, John. These weird server disconnections happening tonight. It's funny though, it's a bat lagging. He's currently at the top lane. He does have a TP available, so he could make his way into the team fight if it's gonna last that long. I don't think he will though. I think he's probably just gonna have to let the Kunkka, or rather the Tusk, die. Execration's on their way out anyway. Tusk does die. No, he is TPing in. He wants to try and punish for this. They're gonna chase Van, a bat, all there. Mana Void back up. Palos will waveform away. Van would love to get that Reaper Scythe off right now, but he just can't quite reach. And now Palos. He's been healed up again by Ara. But Cignal Ultra have already left the building. And I see pings on Van at the bot lane. Not expecting them to still be around. They definitely are, however. Just going to follow him up that tree line. Do you really want to try for this Execration? Not quite. They don't have a roar, so it's kind of hard to lock him down. Meanwhile, a bat ends up finding Yaha, and with Yaha going down, they did make a bit of a waveform untowards Van. But now an X. James, you're going to catch out Palos. Snowball in. Palos already strength morphing. Will be alright to just waveform out. And while that's happening, a bat is just split pushing the top lane now, forcing them to TP back.
Yeah, just the classic AM things happening. But just having the space, decides to do some chip damage and does a lot. Well, a lot considering what he has. So they are starting to force the attention of Execration to split up. And you do see Cignal slowly pulling ahead in terms of net worth. That does show us that Abbat is starting to build up to a very big extent on the AM. Given a bit too much space, Execration, they need to punish this. They need to be able to pin down the AM, clean him up before he does start building up, because you're not seeing the same build up from Palos. He's just going for the BKB, and the progress has been relatively slow.
Well, it seems like they're just kind of hell-bent on just going for that push style lineup here for the side of Execration. But up against an AM, it does become very, very difficult if the game ends up like this. As long as a bat is alive, you're never really going to be able to make the high ground attempt. You can just continue to skip the creep wave and be a nuisance, but they'll smoke up now. Roshan is currently happening for the side of Execration. It is actually quite low. They're going to have to be quick. They won't be quick enough. It does go down, but they're going to go for the fight anyway. A bat jumps in. No mana void. Boat does not connect either. Ben-Hur, however, is quite low and does go down before the team fight really starts. Now Palos has to be very careful as Van is nearby for the Reaper's Scythe. They do kill off RR instead on the Pugna. The bat, he wanted to go for the chase, but ultimately decides better of it. They already found two heroes anyway. Luckily for Execration at least, they do get Palos out with the Aegis.
Yeah, it is starting to look a bit dicey. They're not going to be able to defend too well without their Pango, and the Cignal should be able to get some good damage out, although it is fairly slow going. They are spread out, and it is still tricky to fight into an Aegis.
That it is. Palos really doesn't have that great of a farm though right now. Like,
No.
just Morbid Mask and Manta, really, with some stats.
It's not quite enough. He just can't stand there and fight just yet. He is going for more of a right-click build, which I appreciate. Yeah, like, the magic is just not going to do anything against AM. That's your main concern. But at the same time, your farm isn't keeping up with an AM. So your physical item buildup is slow going. And that is something Abbat has been utilizing well. You can look at his buildup. He's got the Basher. He's saving up for the Abyssal. So once that's up and running, it's going to be really straightforward to get the lockdown in to something like Palos. And Execration's only real way of dealing with that is the Roar and Black Hole.
Well, Ben-Hur going to start rotating through the mid lane. They have the BKB up now, so they may want to try and get it active and use that 10-second BKB charge sooner rather than later. X though, Ben-Hur getting caught out. They're just going to deny him rolling away now with the Reaper Scythe on top of everything else. And Execration, I mean, they're just kind of running in one by one like that. It's just not the way to do it.
No. They're just not they're not able to really maximize their split farm. And every single time they kind of do this, like softly clump up, this is opportunities for Abbat to keep going for that split push. Now one man down, no buyback for about a minute. Cignal can just find that mid tier 2 now.
That they will. Not going to be too hard. Now Bat will go ahead and take it. Palos showing, but of course he has the Aegis, but they just use the X, send a Bat in there, do it the safe way. Decrepify, no, Mana Void will amplify. And, well, that's your Aegis gone now. They still want to go. James is thinking about it. He doesn't connect with the torrent, but you do have the Abyssal up on a Bat. He just finished right after that little engagement over the Aegis. Jamesy trying to find an opportunity to start this off. Always worried though that Yaha may come in with the black hole.
They just kind of disengage, but Execration, without that Aegis, it's a lot less safe for Palace to be up in front, although they do smoke up.
They will. Ben-Hur just rolling straight in onto Van. Van will scout this out. He is the tankiest target they could possibly go for. It does go into that ghost form. Now boats are flying out. There's the BKB from Palos. He'll try to continue going onto Van, but they don't really seem to have a clear target. Now they're on the Kunkka, but he is very tanky in the black hole. Yaha, he has caught the AM, but it is cancelled off. And now the Reaper Scythe will secure the Yaha kill on the Enigma. Van still surviving, still alive on this Necrophos, and we are going to have a pause. Eris disconnects on the side of Cignal Ultra. The servers are really just not holding up tonight.
A solid lag coming out, and well, you look at Palos. He's got to make a decision, Mike. Very low, not safe.
That he is, but I'd say he's probably just dead here. He can waveform, unless a bat gets a bash. And he's still trying to walk away. He's out of mana. He can't actually waveform out now. Ara gonna go down as well. Palos running out of strength to morph into, so a bat jumps back in on top of him. Snowball now back onto that morphling. Buybacks flying out. Palos still not really getting bashed here. A bat getting a bit unlucky. They'll decrepify and really life drain him back up. Eris will end up finally going down here to Ben-Hur. It looks like they've overstayed their welcome now. Cignal Ultra will need to be able to back out of here. Van may actually finally die, and does do so.
Those were some pretty costly kills, though. That did cost them 2 buybacks inside of Execration, and they look to want to maximize that. They immediately go down bot. They want to find a little bit more.
Well, Bat's the main target, and he's actually now out of mana. He can't blink away. He tries to change his treads to int, but he is stuck.
Oh, no.
And Ben-Hur with the Diffusal Blade on the Pango, draining the last of the mana of that AM. That is a huge pickoff.
That was nearly a 2k swing just from that one kill. That does make the buybacks pretty worthwhile. Like, you found the biggest target on the map. You find it with Palos around, so he can actually build into this right-click build now. Saving up for the butterfly. And of course, that just allows him to get a lot more done. He was having some damage issues. With a butterfly, not going to be so.
And we'll see how fast he can get it up, though. Always nice to find a Paladin Sword as well if you're this morphling. Van building into a Lotus Orb. They're going to start roaming through their jungle, but they do have to be very careful as BHM does have the roar up on the Beastmaster. I imagine both teams will probably really start to posture around that Roche pit soon and make sure that neither side can actually get it, because that Roshan could dictate how this game goes.
Yeah. It's fairly even, like, despite all that back and forth. 16 to 21, a slight 4k advantage for Cignal. Again, keeping in mind that is an AM that has majority of that gold. So I'd say it's fairly even on the board. And as this game kind of goes on, for Cignal Ultra, it does become a lot more about Abad. And for Execration, they've got so much utility to keep growing. Yaha is finally saving up for the BKB. So he can just maximize the black hole and just channel it fully. We've seen him interrupted a lot of times. Once this is up, they can get the control out onto the AM.
Yaha's got a real log problem, John.
Don't want to deal with those logs.
Oh. The lag will continue for both teams.
I don't know what any of us expect. It's Southeast Asia.
I know.
You know, this is it. This is prime Southeast Asia.
They are gonna just wait around, wait for the well, there's no real disconnection here. It's just a lag issue going on.
Yeah, just gotta ride out that rough wave of internet issues. I'm not sure what's up. Like, I've had consistent internet issues myself, and we called up our only internet company, and they said they've got a line problem between a couple of islands.
I see.
Basically, my island is south, so that might be causing a few issues for the rest of the connections, just with rerouting and overloading those lines, perhaps.
Perhaps. Could be the issue. Hopefully the issue won't return during this final game. We will find out very, very soon when this next Roshan's going to be up. But there's the Butterfly now, coming out onto Palos, so a lot more damage on this morph, a lot more survivability as well up against that AM. AC also up on the Kunkka, however. So Jamesy now sitting there even tankier. That added aura is going to be very, very nice for his team. And they're going to do this the slow siege way, John. The X blink forward and just hit tier 3 towers.
Yeah, that is one strength of their lineup. They can opt to play this way. It is basically uncounterable for the most part. And there you go. Tier 3 gone. Onto the racks.
Well, you need a Yule Scepter for this. They don't have one. And, well, TP's into the mid lane. A bat sees creeps. In fact, no, it's the double damage.
Yeah, and on top of that, Roche is up. This is prime time to play in this area.
Well, Ben-Hur will go ahead and bottle up that double damage rune. Jamesy might break the smoke here, but they jump straight into him. He does BKB up. He might need to throw that boat out for the added rum bonus. We'll eventually get there. They can't actually kill him off. And now, high ground advantage for Cignal, though no, Yaha jumps in. They don't want to fight this, it seems. Cignal, they're in big trouble. Black hole, but it's with the snowball there.
Oh no.
They do eventually get out. And they do kill off Jamesy. Now Eris does also go down, but a bat has jumped in. Straight onto RR. Bursting down that Pugna, but he is losing his life. Oh, Palos now has free reign. The AM does not have buyback. Oh, it's a classic AM game, John. Not saving gold for buyback.
Yeah, and man, did he melt. That was a lot of damage coming out on Palos, just melting right through the AM. You'd expect the guy to be a bit tankier, but without that Kunkka around,
they can finish the game now. Execration may have just won. One buyback from the Enchantress. If they realize the AM doesn't have one, this game is over. Van can try his absolute best there with Grims, and of course the task being played by Eris, but you have so many heroes there, so many units. They're going to go for the bot racks now. They don't feel confident going after the Ancient. Just trying to get that barracks advantage. They'll find a secondary. Looks like Cignal Ultra will be okay with this. They realize they're still in the game here. Even though they really shouldn't be. In Execration, they will back off.
I like the safer play coming out from them. There's still a Roche up and running that they haven't checked for, so they could easily transition into that area. Issue is, they're walking right under a lot of wards. So of course, Cignal is going to be fully aware of what's going on.
How do you contest though? You have your AM back up in about 7 seconds. Roshan dropping at a steady rate. They need to get there quick. They have smoked up, but Roshan is still dropping. Shards will give some vision. Van, he'll go in. That Roshan about to fall. Bat jumps in. He got the Aegis. The AM has picked it up. And now the stun straight onto that Morphling. Palos, maybe just ignore the Morphling for now. Go for somebody else for the side of Cignal Ultra. A Bat is blinking forward, trying to find a target. And Execration is just running for their lives. Ensnare and, of course, the Reaper Scythe straight onto that Beastmaster. And now Cignal Ultra will start rushing towards that top racks.
Yeah, it's can be easy for them to melt right through. They have to worry about the black hole. It is up on Yaha, and they could just try to go for the defense play.
Cignal, though, will they be satisfied with just Raxes alone? Do they want to try and force out something here? Abyssal, straight onto Yaha. He's going to have no mana. He will die. No buyback on the Enigma. Rolling Thunder already being used up by Ben-Hur. You can just reset after this. There is a jump in now from the morphing into that task. They will find Eris, but now X is there onto Palos. Torrent will connect, but it looks like they are going to go back, or maybe they're just trying to kite out. Abad is still looking to blink back in.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But without buyback gold on that AM, you can't risk too much.
Yeah, and with that, Cignal has to play a bit more defensive. They pull back. You look at that base, the bot wave is just shoving in. And there's no TPs back, so you're taking constant damage onto these tier 4s for free. Execration, I'm pretty sure they're going to be happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like it's going down to less than half soon.
The Cignal Ultra aren't done though. They're going back into the mid lane, doing that X blink trick again. I believe he still doesn't have buyback gold. Yeah, he's about 300 gold short. This is why they're making the safer play. A bat. You alright?
Radiant's middle tower is under
And now they finally decide to go. Oh, they realize now. Oh, the tier 4's under siege, guys. Jamesy, TP's back in. And, I mean, you know, it's half the tower damage. Not too big of a deal.
Yeah, still nice. If Execration does force out a bit of a race situation, they've got a lot more damage to start off with, so just a slight advantage there. And the issue for Execration now is that they have to take out that tier 2 top. And to do that, they have to have a creep wave pushed in. Except they have to push the wave up against super creeps. So this is going to slow down their progress towards their last objective, and Yaha just has a lot of logs.
Logs are a problem in this game, John. Huge problem. We do have the reconnection now from BHM. Go ahead is there. A 2k net worth lead, really just nothing in this game. It's been a bit back and forth. Win probability? Dota Plus doesn't know anymore. It's just sitting around 47 to 53 the way of Execration. So they have a slight advantage, according to Dota Plus. I don't think the AI actually knows what's going on in this game anymore. It's Jamesy. Again, just using the X, playing very, very safe.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning.
Our back can scout out like this. Gonna blink in. Oh, there's a Pangolier here. X him back.
Yeah, it's just a lot of safe plays coming out, although I do believe Abat does have buyback gold. Interestingly enough, Abat is queuing up the Divine.
Oh, why
That's
not?
a solutional though.
Jumps in, finds RR straight off the bat, now onto Yaha, but the X back is going to bring him all the way back onto Ben-Hur, who is already rolling away. RR is going to buy back into this team fight as the Pugner. Now the Morph going in, Palos trying to go after Eris. Snowball will be there, Grims will be the next target. Palos, he did pop the BKB charge. Meanwhile, a bat in the back lines going on to Ben-Hur. Boat does not connect, now Yaha, he does find a two-man black hole, and that means a bat is going to lose the Aegis. And we have a disconnection on Van. This is going to be one of the most... It's so unfortunate how the... yeah.
PLDC.
Yeah.
Truth.
That's all that can be said.
It's funny that there are 11 Filipinos in this lobby and all of us are on PLD. Lots of choices here, Mike.
Lots of choices.
Lots of choices.
Alright, we have the go-in ready. So they go on. The Kunkka, gonna be a problem. Abat does respawn, gets a bash on Palos, goes instead onto the Enigma. Palos is completely out of mana right now, but RR is healing that back up, but they don't want to have to deal with the buybacks. That'll be it. They'll back off. Meanwhile, the creep wave was pushing into the tier 4s of the Dire now, so Yaha has to deal with those. Execration trying to find some sort of pick off here on a straggler, but he's just not going to get there.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
The bat seemingly trying to look for a way into the Dire base, but decides better of it, we'll go back to farming the jungle.
Yeah, he does switch out from the Divine into the Scotty. So he just wants a way to mitigate that sustain that Palos has, and the Scotty is one way to get that done. It's a bit safer, but it does mean you're not going to pierce through that evasion. Does buy it straight up.
Alright. No buyback gold.
Yeah, that's a risk. That's a massive risk. Like, he lacks 2k. Has to make sure he doesn't get caught out, because if you get caught with your pants down here, that's probably it.
That's it. Of course, it is very, very hard to actually catch the AM out. Like, you're kind of relying on that Roar or BKB, but even connecting the Roar before he counterspells is quite difficult. Go up, farm some tier 4 items. Sure, Execration are going to do the exact same. You're waiting for Yaha to have that black hole back up to really feel confident to go for a big team fight. Execration, Cignal, they've smoked up. A bat. Checking to see if his smoke breaks when he jumps on the cliff. You seem to be aware something is wrong here. Palos will break the smoke of Van, and immediately both teams just get out of there. Palos, though, going back in. Feeling confident. This is risky. Yaha does have the black hole, though. Van, kind of by himself, but he is far enough away. Well, I say that BHM does have a blink.
Dire's bottom tower.
They don't have vision on anyone else, but now that Hawk will give vision. They'll see Jamesy. Still, they continue to chase. A bat now pops his head out. Neither side wants to be the one to pull the trigger. They want to try and counter-initiate if they can.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Crims is a very easy kill if they want to try and go for that, and Palos will just blow him up, just casually. Van now, going to be chased down. They have the 4v5 advantage. No buyback from that Enchantress, and Van is also going to end up dying. Snowball in from Eris, but it's just way too late. And that means Eris is going to be the third to die. And, well, a bat's still around. Oh, he got bashed straight away. Ben-Ho found him. Now Yaha! Oh, he delayed out that black hole. BHM doesn't have the Roar. Had he just blind black holed right there, that would have been game.
Oh yeah, that was a terrifying situation for Abbat, but does get to live, and this is the issue now for Execration. They fought bot. They can't shove top. They can't find any other objectives unless they go for the tier 4s.
That's what you want anyway, right? See, that's the objective. Go for the Ancient.
Yeah?
You look at Palos, he's just stacked with farm, and he just says, screw it, I'm going for this. You need some creeps though, sir. Of course, up against an AM, it is kind of hard to have creeps, but he does have some now.
Oh man.
Glyphs have been forced out. A bat is currently running his way back down towards the south to try and get back in his base. That'll be one tier 4 gone. Execration, they've had enough of this game. It's a second tier 4 to go down. You need to fight this right now, Cignal. The boat comes in. Now a bat jumps in, but Yaha doesn't second guess it. He goes straight for the black hole, and a bat is going to end up dying. He has no buyback gold. And that'll be it. The game's over. The Roar's there on the Kunkka. And of all things to lose to, it's net worth and gold that ends up costing the side of Cignal Ultra, and Execration will start off their BTS Pro Series 2 debut with a 2-0 victory over Cignal Ultra.
Yeah, it's a great showing from Execration. Cignal Ultra, not quite enough there. And it was that risky buyout. It was that Scotty buyout from Abbat that costed him. Unfortunately, not enough to turn the tide, and Execration just found one hole to exploit, come out on top.
With that, that is it for tonight. That was our 4 series. We, of course, will be back tomorrow for 4 more series of the BTS Pro Series. I may as well go over the schedule for tomorrow. We're going to start off with RR versus Geek Fam. Fnatic versus T1 straight after that. Of course, T1 is going to have their debut tomorrow, John. Adroit vs T1 after Fnatic vs T1, and then Fnatic vs Execration to finish us off for the night. But that is it for tonight. It is getting late, John, so we may as well head off. It is MLP Dota and johnxfire. It's been an absolute pleasure. And again, we'll see you tomorrow night for some more great SEA Dota. See you all then.